Hashtag me first. Well, we're going to talk about what that means, as well as how it relates to unconscious bias. First, we're going to cue that intro. Once again, I am Rumbling Thunder, and this is 25 to Lifestyle since Thrive, a docu-series project that is underway in production. And as advertised, today we are talking about unconscious bias and how it relates to our everyday experiences having these glorious tans. What up, you melanated masterpiece? So I'm gonna tell you a quick story, okay? Once upon a time, I was in college in my 30s. Let's call it over a decade ago. And I learned a lot. I would often go to class as you see now. But surprise, surprise, I do clean up pretty well. So what I noticed was I would be able to traverse the halls unbothered normally, unseen. But then when I would clean up, go to the barber or do it myself, tame this mane, then accompany it with, something spiffy like this I have on right now. Lo and behold, it was almost like I was glowing. In the school that I went to, one of the kids said, it's like the top 3 pretty girls from every high school in America came here to this college. Because I went to an art school and they had a fashion program. And it was in Miami. So, yeah, it was Unicorn Central. And when, I would clean up, women that normally walk past me, not even making eye contact, lo and behold, would smile, even wave. And at the same time, while this was happening, I was taking behavioral psychology classes because I was a film major and I was learning about character development. So I found this interesting. Seems as if the value of my presence is determined by how I look. Revelation, I know, right? But here's the plot twist. It was like a double down damn. Because, hey, I already know that. coming with this glorious tan. She's like, wait a minute. What's going on here? And it's what prompted me to craft this video that I'm going to show you, and really this whole social experiment that I've embarked on. Hashtag me first. Now, I definitely would like to know your thoughts on everything I just said, and if you can relate, or if they might be you. That's a hard pill to swallow, no? But that's what we're here to talk about, mental health and really self-awareness. And ultimately, another reason why this live is entitled Indifferent to Indifference, Battling Unconscious Bias, is because I wanted to talk about another instance in which unconscious bias rears its ugly head. And I'm going to use myself to contextualize this banter. Now, I'm a branding consultant. Okay? You can look up those words separately if you like. I'm not going to explain it. And I found it very interesting that solely due to unconscious bias, it is very difficult for people to wrap their mind around paying me money to have a conversation. Gasp, clutch the pearls if I introduce an NDA. Now, out of the examples, I want you to take a look. The examples that are on the right side of this chart, I want you to take a look at which bias might be exhibited while I read the definition of unconscious bias. Unconscious bias refers to attitudes, assumptions, or beliefs that influence our thinking without our conscious awareness. These biases are automatic and occur in a split second, often based on societal stereotypes and cultural conditioning. Overcoming unconscious bias begins with increasing self-awareness. I mentioned self-awareness, didn't I? I'm pretty sure I did. I don't have no notes, so either way, I'm going to read it one more time. Unconscious bias refers to attitudes, assumptions, or beliefs that influence our thinking without our conscious awareness. These biases are automatic and occur in a split second, often based on societal stereotypes and cultural conditioning. Overcoming unconscious bias begins with increasing self-awareness. Now, I can tell you off top, I ain't gonna make you guess. Most times I'm dealing with racial bias. Spoiler alert. But also stereotyping bias, confirmation bias. People are obsessed with merging me with the vision of who they believe I am that is playing in their head. That's just not just me. I'm just using myself as context, and specifically as a branding consultant. It's like, no, it can't possibly be what it says it is. It has to be what I believe it to be. And ultimately, authority bias. Uh-oh. When I said authority bias, the live ticker hit 1111. Rewind it and check it. How would that equate? Look, I'm not a psychologist. I have a bachelor in fine arts and film. You can ask smarter people than I for these questions or answers. Or really, I said it right the first time because that's why I'm here, to get us to pose the right questions. Like, what's going on? And, there's one piece of content that exists in pop culture that is like an anchor for me, right? And it's good old Kanye. Yay. Back in like 2013, 2014, he had an interview talking about in the future, companies are going to have to look to the quote unquote black guy for positions that require creativity. I'm paraphrasing what he's saying. And lo and behold, here we are. But I'm here to tell you, this unconscious bias, sheesh, it's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to deal with. And again, this is another reason why this project exists, is to have these conversations specifically geared towards those individuals who can relate. And, as a byproduct, maybe those who can't may learn something. Who knows? Anything is possible. But first, we might need to get away from this. Uh-oh. What is Rumbling Thunder talking about now? The halo effect. Let's read it. The halo effect is a cognitive bias where our overall impression of a person or thing is influenced by a single positive trait or characteristic. Definition. The halo effect occurs when we generalize positive qualities to other aspects, even if there is no direct evidence to support it. For example, if someone is good at football, we might assume they're good at poetry as well. This bias can affect our judgments and evaluations, leading to skewed perceptions and unfair assessments. They give an example of beauty bias. Imagine you meet someone who is physically attractive, and based on their looks alone, you assume they must also be intelligent and kind. As a result, you tend to overlook any flaws or negative traits they may possess and view them Overly positive light. Have you guys heard of influencers? Even influencer marketing. It's a thing. That's a thing. I can Google it later to fact check, but I'm pretty sure that that's a thing. Uh, celebrity endorsements. Yeah. I'm definitely sure that's a thing. Sure am. So let me tell you what's going on right now in real time. You got individuals like myself with talent, experience, and knowledge to match. And you have the system that is operating the only way that it knows how, and that is capitalism at all cost. And as we sit, this opportunistic mindset of self-indulgence is eating away at itself. And all the manipulation tactics are watered down and overused. And I can tell you firsthand from my experience in the digital realm, hashtag multimedia consultant. I was the first person ever to use that on LinkedIn. Look it up. Either way, what I'm saying is during the lockdown, a lot of new vectors popped up, a lot of new industries, specifically coaching. And these mediocre middlemen, in their infinite wisdom, developed a plethora of coaching strategies surrounded around masterminds. And I got plenty of other lives talking about all of these things. It's just, unconscious bias and all. I guess it needs to come from someone else for the message to be delivered properly. And that's why I wanted to talk about character development. Like, it's a character flaw to not give credit where credit is due. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm going to say that one more time. It is a character flaw to not give credit where credit is due. And social media is a program that has normalized that activity of not giving people credit based on others' unconscious bias. How much clout do they have? How many followers? How big is their platform? And this is the system eating away at itself. This cyclical mindset of believing that top down is the only approach. How about looking to the person adjacent to partner with? Because everyone has a boss or employee mindset. And unfortunately, because of capitalism and how social media programs you to want and desire constantly, insatiably, Every employee wants to be the boss. Without experience even. Without even being a good follower. Sheesh. Imagine that. So the only thing I'm here to do is suggest times have changed. This particular live is for LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn is probably the most cringe platform on the internet. Like it's like mask on mask on mask on mask. And just the amount of IP theft and suppression and the pay-to-play mechanisms now mixed with AI bots it's just bananas. Like, remember when the internet first happened and chat rooms were a thing and you would accidentally enter a chat room full of like spam bots? Like, yeah, that's what LinkedIn is to me. But hey, LinkedIn, I'm for hire, on retainer. I did mention I was a branding consultant, right? And fun fact, I developed my own social media network that I launched way back in 2012. I know they say you shouldn't live in the past, but I'm not. I'm just qualifying myself. And not only did I do that, it was the first of its kind. You know, it's how your platform is oriented now, where it allows businesses to communicate with regular profiles. So I guess I owe society maybe an apology, because I have been at the cusp and the forefront of all things technological for the last 30 years. So, yeah. Just attempted to shift the paradigm in a positive nature, you know? Get people to check their cognitive dissonance. Maybe. And offer my services. If you're a brand, small business, or entrepreneur, let's work. And as always, Commercial Universe Boutique is sponsoring this documentary project. And it is a brand that merges mental health with merch. So I had all types of programs and projects that you could either be a part of or be inspired by. Either way, maybe even support. My whole social experiment was predicated on one meme. If it's dope, like it. So, you know, it's been 8-9 years in the making, but here we are, finally talking about the effects of social media. Not just the effects, but the byproduct of the effects that we are currently enduring. Appreciate everyone's time. Subscribe, donate even, invest even, because that's a thing. What would stop you from investing? I have the very first ever treatment via video. It's here on this channel. I have the very first ever PDF book, digital book, to be sold digitally via website, 2006, before Kindle. True story. I'm the first to have a documentary about veterans transitioning back into society in an empowering nature. You know, because of how set apart their skill sets are and their level of self-awareness. I could go on and on and on. It's just, why should I have to? Due diligence is a thing, right? And not in solely the aspects of to scrutinize or to dox. Shout out to Metadata Protection Agency. Because that's at the core of a lot of what we're dealing with when it comes to the mental illness of how people are interacting with each other. Is inferiority complex magnified to the point of attack. At the moment they see someone who is confident or that they perceive a higher state or just stronger energy. Well, I've said a lot. And specifically that last piece is talking about gang stalking, hacking, cyber stalking, all those things of that nature. When the system gets serious about that in the same way that they are about credit monitoring or credit fraud or even child abuse, that's when society will be able to mentally heal itself. Until then, don't be a cog. I don't know who needs to hear this, but it is okay to add seasoning to your branding and marketing. True story. Don't be ashamed. Style equals spice, you know? Can you see what I'm saying? Can you see what I'm saying?
Generations of men who have come from broken homes that long to have children of their own for the sole purpose of righting wrongs. We never hear their songs. Deaf and numb society circus sees this plight as worthless, never providing a space for them to belong. Even worse is the fact predators feast off their pain, empathy in vain. Claims of you deserve this gaslit into their memory banks. It's time to break ranks, draw lines, define what is true. More men are afflicted by the system, born into a narrative they didn't choose. Redundant hues of blue. The only thing toxic is the news. Unplug.